free trade advocates point to several beneficial effects of increased international trade, or what we also call liberalized trade, not just free trade. One is increasing standard of living caused by increased trade will lead to improvement in environmental conditions. The argument that as living standards rise, so will environmental harm be reduced.
They think that free trade is fair, but it's really not. I mean, it's destroying our environment, it's destroying the conditions that people live in. I mean, NAFTA was supposed to bridge the first world and the third world, and it didn't.
The Mexican standard of living has not really increased, although the level of economic activity has. And what we find is that during the same time, environmental degradation has been extensive. I mean, there's been increase in soil erosion, increase in solid waste, urban air and water pollution have increased faster than both gross domestic product and population. This particular company, Metales y Derivados, is a Mexican company, but it was owned by a U.S. parent company, New Frontier Trading, and that was based in San Diego. It's a classic example of lax enforcement of laws by one of the NAFTA trading partners. It goes right to the heart of the whole U.S. environmentalist concerns about NAFTA and free trade in general, in terms of increasing environmental problems in other countries, and the notion that companies might well be attracted to located, for example, in Mexico, where the laws are not enforced or otherwise.
It's not focusing on sustainable development. It's not focusing on people. People are still living on the margins over there. It's not helping them. Before they had jobs, simple jobs out in their farms, and now they come to the borders to look for jobs, and they just live in overcrowded cities, and the cost of living has gone up tremendously because of NAFTA, and it seems like they're in a worse situation because their families are broken up. They're in this new area they don't know anything about.
The Mexico experience before NAFTA and after NAFTA has really been trading some future economic development, the prospect of that, for environmental degradation today. And that accumulated environmental damage is likely to have a negative economic effect in the long run. Sustainable development, and hence fair trade, I think is this integration of economics and ecology in all kinds of decision making and all levels of decision making. So when environmentalists express concerns about free trade, what they're really doing is expressing concerns about unfettered or unconstrained free trade. And I think the concept of sustainable development reflects a broader and more inclusive framework, and that's what fair trade means to me. Fair trade to me means trade that fosters sustainable development. The development of ideas, the development of concern, the studies, I think better understanding of the relationship between trade and the environment. The Commission for Environmental Cooperation, established under NAFTA, has been doing some wonderful work in terms of learning how increased trade affects the environment. So there's been a lot of progress going on. It's just not yet reflected in any agreements or hard law.